What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Hangout spot where you already know it's Real Talk Sports Talk, live from my man cave. It's your boy Johnny, and let's talk football as I'm about to drop my Week 14 NFL picks with spreads. Last week I was actually 8-5, picking the winner outright, and 7-6 against the spread. So we'll see if we can get back on track this week, but it's going to be tough. I mean, there were a lot of games that I was kind of iffy about. Starting with this game tonight on Thursday night between the 2-10 New England Patriots, who are traveling to Pittsburgh to face the 7-5 Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are coming into this game as a 6-point favorite, but I don't know what the deal is with these Thursday night games, man. It's almost like every game or every other game on Thursday it's a low-scoring, ugly game, and I don't think this one is going to be any different. I mean, you have two offenses that are struggling or struggle to score points. The Patriots have lost 5 in a row. Their biggest story is who's going to be their quarterback. Is it going to be Bailey Zappi? Is it going to be Mac Jones? Regardless of who it is, you know Bill Belichick is not afraid to make a change at the half to try to provide a spark, but nothing seems to work. I give it to him, though. I mean, regardless of how bad they are on offense, he still finds a way to make his defense play at a level where the game is at least competitive, just like he did last week against the Chargers. They lost, but they only gave up 6 points to the Chargers. They just can't score any points. I mean, that's the main deal with them. And then you have the Steelers, who lost Kenny Pickett, to an ankle injury last week, so he's going to be out in a couple weeks. Mitch Trubisky is going to step in as the starter. If he can play competent football and not turn the ball over, you got to think they'll be okay because their defense is one of the best in the league. I mean, they're 6th in points allowed. They're only allowing 19 points a game. They're 11th in sacks, 34 sacks, led by a beast. TJ Watt has 14 sacks, and they're 5th in interceptions with 12. So if you're not careful, they'll take the ball away from you. And this is a game where they can potentially take the ball away from either Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi, regardless of who quarterbacks. So, I mean, if the Steelers, can muster up a couple touchdowns, maybe, add a field goal in there, you think they might be okay. Again, if Mitch Trubisky doesn't turn the ball over and he plays competent football, they should be able to find ways to win until Kenny Pickett comes back. But I don't know about this one. I have a funny feeling that the Patriots are going to win this game. If there's a game that they can win, this is definitely that game against a backup quarterback. And you got to think that the Patriots aren't going to lose out. I mean, their coach is just too good for that. I still think that regardless of their lack of talent, he can probably find another couple of wins, to close out the season with. So I'm going to pick the Patriots to win this game. Even if I were picking the Steelers, I wouldn't pick the Steelers to cover, but I'm going to pick the Patriots to win by upset, which takes us to our full slate of 1 o'clock games. First one being the 7-5 Houston Texans, who are traveling to MetLife Stadium to face my beloved and dysfunctional 4-8 New York Jets. I'll tell you, man, if the Jets could score as much touchdowns as headlines during the week that they make, we'd be a playoff team right now, because it's never a dull moment in Jet Nation. It's a circus. It really is. I mean, this week was the whole Zach Wilson wanting to be named the starter. Then he was reluctant, telling coaching staff or people in the locker room that he was reluctant to play. Obviously, those reports got denied by Zach Wilson himself and the Jets team, but you got to think that there was some truth to it. There's just a lot of funky stuff going on around this team. There's more funky stuff going on than there is trying to fix this offense. The Jets are just piss poor offensively. They did name Zach the starter. Not sure how I feel about that. I mean, realistically, truthfully speaking, I guess he does give you the best chance to win, but it's only because the other two are just horrible. I mean, so it's almost like pick one of the three Stooges, Mo, Larry, or Curly. It really doesn't matter. I mean, I guess they pick Zach. He might be Mo. They're going with him. In my opinion, I think it makes the Jets look weak and desperate, but that's what we have at coaching right now. But realistically, to me, it doesn't even matter because, the Texans are just a better team. I think DeMeco Ryans is doing an excellent job with this team. Nobody saw this team at 7-5 this late in the season with a rookie head coach, rookie coordinators, a rookie quarterback who's playing out of his mind. Right now, he is, in my opinion, the rookie of the year. C.J. Stroud, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions only across 12 games is super, super duper impressive for any rookie. I mean, usually they take time to find their way, and it's almost like this kid is playing at a Pro Bowl level, 12 games in. It's unheard of. But listen, as good as the Jets defense is, I think personally they're either a half or a game away from just giving up entirely. And it's only because as hard as they play, they're not going to get any help from the offense. I don't see that happening with Zach coming back after being benched a couple games. I could be wrong, but either way, I'm picking the Texans to win this game and to cover the points, which takes us to our next game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 5-7 are going to be traveling to Atlanta to face the 6-6 first place Atlanta Falcons, fresh off their 13-8 ugly victory over my Jets. The Buccaneers, they've only won 2 of the last 5 games, but Baker's been solid. He's been solid. 18 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Mike Evans continues to put up Mike Evans numbers. Over 1,000 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. So, between him and Chris Godwin, Baker's got some targets. But Desmond Ridder's been playing well, since coming back from being benched. He's played solid football. They're running the football with Bijan Johnson. They're playing good defense. He's not making the big mistakes. He's making good throws when he needs to make good throws. He made a couple of really good throws against the Jets that I was impressed with. A third down pass while he was being blitzed, and then the touchdown over the middle, which ultimately won the game, in my opinion, was pretty impressive. But this is going to be an interesting one. This is another one that I had a hard time trying to figure out where I would go with it. But I'm going to pick the Falcons to win this game at home and cover the 1.5 points and go to 7-6, which brings us to our next game. The 9-3 Detroit Lions, they are traveling to Chicago to face their division rivals, the 4-8 Chicago Bears. They just played each other 3 weeks ago, and the Lions pulled out a late victory against Chicago, 31-26. But the Lions are just a better team. Offensively, they're 5th in scoring, so they put points on the board. They're averaging almost 28 points a game. Goff has been solid, averaging almost 275 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So he's been good there. And the Bears just aren't good. Justin Fields was playing well before he got injured. There were 2 good. There was a string of a couple games that he put together that were really good. Then he got injured. He came back. And again, he's been, he just hasn't been really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that the Lions sweep the season series and they beat the Bears and they cover the 3.5 points. I think they'll win by more than a touchdown, which takes us to our next game. The 7-5 Indianapolis Colts are traveling to Cincinnati to face the 6-6 Cincinnati Bengals, who I thought were dead in the water the moment Burrow was announced that he was out for the season. But in comes Jake Browning, man. Another backup quarterback who comes in, plays competent football, doesn't make mistakes, leads his team to a victory. A hard-fought victory against one of the better teams in the AFC last week, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They beat them 34-31 in overtime. Zach Taylor, man, he's a really good, young, innovative, offensive-minded coach. So, if he can keep Jake Browning playing the way he played last week, mistake-free football, competent football, running the football with Joe Mixon, finding Jamar Chase like he did last week, 11 catches, touchdown, I think they'll be okay. I really think the Bengals will be okay. And then you got the Colts, man. Minshew mania. Gardner Minshew is slowly becoming one of my favorite players to watch. And it isn't because he's lighting up the scoreboard. It's because he provides a lot of energy. I love the way he plays. I love his enthusiasm. He has 10 touchdown passes. So, again, he's not lighting up the scoreboard. But he's not afraid to run in for a touchdown, drop that shoulder. He has 3 touchdowns rushing. And then I do like the little shimmy that he does in the end zone. But if he continues to, again, build on the rapport that he's already built with Michael Pittman, 87 catches, 4 touchdowns, almost 900 yards receiving, the Colts will be all right. Right now, if the season ended, they are the 7th seed in the AFC. So they do have a playoff spot right now if the season ended. But I don't know. I think for some reason, something tells me that the Bengals are going to win this game so they can make the AFC wild card race a lot more interesting. So I'm going to go for the upset. I'm going to say that the Bengals win. They go to 7-6. They drop the Colts to 7-6. And then we're talking about who's going to potentially make that 6th, 7th, 8th, 6th or 7th seed. Which takes us to our next game. The 8-4 Jacksonville Jaguars are traveling to Cleveland to face the 7-5 Cleveland Browns, who are starting Joe Flacco, right? Just 3 weeks ago, this guy was sitting on a sofa. Nobody ever thought they'd see him again. They bring him in. He plays competent football. He played competent football. They didn't win the game last week, but he threw for 2 touchdowns. He is a veteran who is battle tested, right? He's that calming influence. All this team needs is good, solid quarterback play because they have a really good defense. I mean, at 7-5, they are in the playoff. They are actually the 6th seed in the playoffs as the season ended today. And the Jaguars, no Trevor Lawrence. You're lucky because when he went down and threw his helmet down and punched the ground, I thought maybe it was a season-ending injury, but they said it's a high ankle sprain. So he's going to be back. All you got to do is keep him afloat. More than likely, he'll be out a few weeks. They may choose to keep him out until the playoffs and then start him in the playoffs. You got to think at 8-4, they just need to win a couple games, 3, maybe 2-3 games, and you'll be fine. You'll be in. CJ Beathard is going to make the start. But if you can run the ball with ETN and just mix it around between Kurt Ridley and Ingram, who have 9 touchdowns amongst the 3, 180 catches. I mean, those are Trevor Lawrence's main targets. You know, you got to think that they'll be okay. But I'm going to take Cleveland in this game for some reason. I think C.J. Beathard is going to struggle against his defense in his first start until he gets settled in. I think the Browns will win by more than a field goal. Our next game, Carolina Panthers, 1-11, competing for the top spot in the draft with the Patriots right now. Are going to be traveling to New Orleans to face the 5-7 New Orleans Saints. And the Saints right now are 5.5-point favorite. Not really much for me to say in this one. I mean, the Panthers just aren't good. Like I said, the biggest question for me with the Panthers is if they do finish out and get the top seed, are they going to stick it out with Bryce Young? Or are they going to say, screw that, we're going to go and we're going to get Caleb Williams, who we think might be better than Bryce Young? That's the big question. So I think the next few games are big for Bryce Young because this is going to be sort of an audition to be able to say, I'm the quarterback that you guys need to continue starting for the rest, you know, for this season and for the foreseeable future. I am the franchise quarterback. You don't need to draft another one, but it's all going to depend on his play because he's been very, very inconsistent so far trying to find his way. And then the Saints, I mean, they are what they are. They're playing up and down football. They have weapons. They have a quarterback, Derek Carr, but he's been inconsistent. I mean, he definitely isn't putting up the same numbers that he put up while he was playing for the Raiders. And I don't even know if he's playing. I mean, I haven't seen an injury report. So even if Jameis Winston plays, I think he's competent and capable enough to beat a bad Panther team. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Saints to win at home and cover, which takes us to our next game, the 6-6 LA Rams are going to be traveling to face one of the best teams in the AFC, the 9-3 Baltimore Ravens. Right now, the Ravens are a touchdown favorite, a 7-point favorite. They are coming off a bye week. They are winners of 4-5. They have one of the best offenses in the league, led by Lamar Jackson, and the rookie Zay Flowers has been insane. And they have one of the best defenses right now. They're first in points allowed. They're only giving up a little bit more than 15 a game. They're 7th, scoring points. So, again, the offense can put up points. They're putting up 27 points a game. They're first in sacks, so they get after the quarterback. They're the complete package. You got to think they're going to compete with Miami right now and the Kansas City Chiefs for the for the right to be able to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And the Rams, well, they're playing better. They're playing a lot better. They've won 3 in a row. Stafford is looking better, And Sean McVay, you had to know sooner or later Sean McVay offense was going to start to look explosive. He's one of the better and more innovative play callers that we have in our league. He's very, very gifted. They've scored over 30 points in the last 2 games, but I think this is where it stops. Traveling to the Northeast to play a team coming off a bye week who's as good as the Ravens are on defense. I think this is a tough matchup for the Rams. So I'm going to take the Ravens to win and cover the 7 points on this game, which takes us to our 4 o'clock games. Our first one being the 6-6 Minnesota Vikings are going to be traveling to Las Vegas to face the 5-7 Las Vegas Raiders. Right now, the Vikings are a 3-point favorite. And it all depends. In my opinion, this game all depends on who we see. Do we see the Joshua Dobbs that was playing well the first 2 games that he was starting when he first got to Minnesota, when he barely knew the playbook? Or do we see the one that we saw last week against the Bears who threw 4 interceptions? I don't know. Right now he has 5 interceptions against 5 touchdowns. So looks like he's kind of coming back down to earth a little bit. We all, including me, love the whole Joshua Dobbs coming in, back up, winning with a new team, barely knowing the playbook. But we got to see. I mean, and the Raiders, they were playing inspired football, when Antonio Pierce took over, and now they're starting to come back down to earth a little bit as well. They are playing at home. 3 points. This is kind of another game where I'm like, don't know who to go with, but I like Kevin O'Connell. I really do. I like him as a head coach, and I think Joshua Dobbs is going to have a comeback game here. So I'm going to take the Vikings to win this game and cover the 3 points, which takes us to our next game. Seattle Seahawks, who are at 6-6, losers of 3 straight. They are going to be traveling to San Francisco to face the 9-3 San Francisco 49ers. Right now, the Niners are coming in at a 10.5-point favorite. I think a lot of that has to do with totally blowing Seattle out of the water on Thanksgiving 31-13 just a few weeks ago. And you can't argue with logic right now. I think the Niners are a juggernaut. They are, in my opinion, the best team, not only in the NFC, but I think they're the best team in football because they're so well-rounded and balanced. Brock Purdy, he's been amazing. I mean, last week against, the Eagles, who are, I thought coming into the game were going to win that game in Philadelphia. He goes out there and he throws for 314 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's insane. I mean, this is a fifth rounder. This is the 5th rounder we're talking about. I mean, you got to hand it to the Niners. And then defensively, I mean, they're a juggernaut as well. I mean, Nick Bosa and Chase Young on the edges. Fred Warner, one of the better linebackers, if not the best linebacker in the league. This team is stacked, man. They're stacked. They can score points. It looks like they're starting to find a groove. They can get after the quarterback, obviously, with those pass rushers. It's been crazy. Christian McCaffrey, dual threat. I mean, the last game he had 114 yards rushing, a couple touchdowns, few catches. This year he's over 1,000 yards rushing, 12 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns catching the ball out of the backfield. They have built a really solid team. You got to give John Lynch a lot of credit over there with what he's put together and the fact that, again, he wasn't afraid to make the decision to move on from Trey Lance, a quarterback that they traded multiple picks to move up and draft just a couple seasons ago. They decided to go with the 5th rounder because they knew he was the better player and he fit a lot better with what they're trying to do, with what Kyle Shanahan is trying to do offensively. And right now it's paying dividends. Brock Purdy is playing great football. I don't see anybody beating the Niners anytime soon, especially the Seahawks. I mean, because, again, they haven't been playing well. 10.5 points is high for, against a Pete Carroll coached team. You got to think that they may keep it a little bit closer, especially since they've seen them, just a couple weeks ago. But not with the way the 49ers looked last week. So I'm definitely on the Niners train for now. I think the Niners win this game. They win it big again. They sweep the season series, and they cover the 10.5 points, which takes us to our next game, which I think is going to be a good one. The 6-6 Buffalo Bills will travel to Kansas City to face the 8-4 Kansas City Chiefs. And the Bills are coming off a bye week, and before that, a tough loss to the Eagles, 34-37. But the good news is their offenses looked a lot better under Joe Brady. Josh Allen has been playing a lot better, more controlled, keeping it simple, making the right throws, the right reads. They're running the football. But scoring points, realistically, is not a problem for the Bills. They are averaging a little bit over 27 points a game. And defensively, they're 5th in the league in points allowed. Only 18.9 points a game. So if the key to the Bills, in my opinion, is you don't want to see the Josh Allen that has thrown 13 interceptions. You want to see the Josh Allen that you've seen since Joe Brady took over. If you see that, I think the Bills will be fine. And I do think that they're going to make a run and make the playoffs. And then you got the Chiefs. I mean, 8-4, but they have not been looking like the same team from last year or even the team from the year prior. And I'm not sure what it is. I mean, there's something going on there. Mahomes hasn't looked his best. He's still, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the league and needs to be respected in that fashion. But, he's looked human. He looked human last week. So there are moments where he's looked human more than I would have thought. He has turned the ball over as well. He has 10 interceptions. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's a lack of rapport with a receiving core that I think is definitely a downgrade from what he's had in recent years. But if he can continue again to just throw the ball to Travis Kelce, they should be all right. Handing the ball off to Pacheco is never a bad thing. That guy runs like he's a man possessed. But at the end of the day, Buffalo actually plays very well in Kansas City from prior games and playoff games. So 1.5 point favorite for the Chiefs at home. I think the Bills are going to start hitting their stride here for some reason. And again, I'm a Jet fan. It pays me to say that, but I'm keeping it real. I do. I think they're going to start to hit a little stride. They're finding their way here. And I think they're going to pull out a victory here and beat the Chiefs in Kansas City, which takes us to our next game. The 6-6 Denver Broncos are going to be traveling to LA to face the 5-7 Chargers. Right now, the Chargers are a 3-point favorite. Broncos last week came down to earth after they won 5 straight. They lost last week in disappointing fashion, mainly because Russell Wilson had 3 interceptions. But don't get it twisted. He's looked very, very solid before last week. Sean Payton has his team playing a lot better. And, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think of the Chargers anymore. I mean, they have Justin Herbert, who's, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. You have some weapons on offense. I don't know if it's just the defense, the secondary, a coaching issue. I'm sure if you talk to a Charger fan, that's what they're going to say. I don't think any one of them are thrilled with Staley as coach, but they just can't be trusted, in my opinion. I mean, and every time I pick them to win, except for last week, they actually won and covered against the Patriots because the Patriots are just not a good team. But every other week when I pick them, they just don't win. I don't trust them. I think the Broncos are a better team. They're a better coach team. And I think if you could keep Russell Wilson upright, he's going to make some right decisions. He's going to pick apart that secondary. I think the Broncos are going to win this game. I'm going to pick Broncos to win at LA in an upset, which takes us to our Sunday night game, which is another goodie. It's an NFC East matchup between the 10-2 Eagles, who are traveling to Dallas to face the 9-3 Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. Right now, the Cowboys are a 3.5-point favorite coming into this game. And again, the winner of this game, could go a long way to being able to say, we have a heads up, or a leg up in winning the NFC East. So this is going to be a good one. The Cowboys right now are, in my opinion, the best offense behind. It's between them and Miami. Statistically, they're number one in points scored by 0.3 of a point or whatever it is, less than a point over Miami. And they're playing, and their defense is legit. They had a bad night at the office last week, but their offense was still able to put up 40 points and play good enough to be able to win the game. And that's what you want, right? When your defense has a bad night, your offense should be able to pick up the slack. And right now, Dak Prescott is playing, MVP caliber football. 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's rushed for another 2. He's passed for over 3,000 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 90 catches, over 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. Those two continue to look like the best 1-2 combination right now, besides Tua and Tyreek Hill. Again, no coincidence. It's not a coincidence that both these teams are the two best offensive teams in the league because of the way their quarterback wide receiver combo is playing. And their defense, like I said, if they play like the Dallas Cowboy defense, seventh in the league in sacks. Micah Parsons is a beast, and they're third in interceptions. So if you're not careful, they will take the football away from you as well. The Eagles, like I said, I thought with the Niners coming in, they were going to play a lot better, more inspired. I was thinking that their best game was going to come out, but Philadelphia Eagle fans are still waiting for the Eagles' best game to come out. They're finding ways to win. At 10-2, they're doing an excellent job of finding ways to win. But if they're not going to play their best game against some of the better teams, they're going to struggle. Jalen Hurts, he doesn't look like the same player as last year. He does have 19 touchdowns, but he does have 10 interceptions. Crazy part is he's rushed for 12. So if you get them close in the red zone, anywhere from the 5-yard line, in between the 5-yard line and the end zone, all they got to do is the Philly shove or tush push or whatever it is they call it. And it's basically an easy touchdown for them. But I don't know. Like I said, they really got their asses handed to them last week. So, are they going to come out different? Not sure. I don't like this matchup for them coming off of a blowout to the Niners. I think the Cowboys right now are on a roll. They're hot, especially on offense. So I'm gonna ride the Cowboy train here, and I'm gonna say that the Cowboys win this game. It's gonna be a close game. I think they win this game. I think they cover. I think they're gonna win by more than 3.5 points. They're gonna cover, and and then we're gonna start having some conversations on who the best team or who could be the potential winner in the NFC East. And then Monday night games. We actually have 2 Monday night games, which is pretty weird. It doesn't happen too often, but we have the Tennessee Titans at 4-8. They're traveling to Miami to face the 9-3 Miami Dolphins. Right now, Miami is almost a 2-touchdown favorite, 13.5. What can you say? They're explosive. They're not playing against a good team coming in. They're explosive. They're second, like I said, in in the league in points scored at 32, or averaging 32 a game. They're first in yards, total yards 437, second in passing yards. So I mean, Tua's 70% passer. He has 24 touchdowns. He's averaging close to 290 yards a game. And then Tyreek Hill, what can you say about him, right? He's playing lights out football, 93 catches in 12 games, a little bit over 1,400 yards in receiving, and he's averaging about 123 yards a game. It's crazy, 12 touchdowns. It's almost like every time I turn the TV on, he's running past a corner, no safety help. He's catching a wide open bomb with the nearest defender 5 yards away from him because he's that fast. And it's almost like Tua just has to drop back and just throw it as far as he can throw it. Tyreek Hill will probably be open and catch the football and make, and get a touchdown there. So, Mike McDaniels, he's done an excellent job with this team. I mean, offensively. And right now, like I said, they're on a roll. So almost a 14-point favorite to cover against a Titan team that just isn't good with a rookie quarterback who's still trying to find his way. I'm riding the Miami train, even though I'm a Jet fan. I think they're going to win and they're going to cover big at home. And then our last game on Monday night pits the Green Bay Packers at 6-6. They're going to be traveling to MetLife to face the 4-8 New York Giants. Right now, the Packers are a 6.5-point favorite. Tyrod Taylor supposedly is coming off the injured list, but Brian Daboll announced that Tommy DeVito is going to remain the starter. I think that's a good idea. I mean, he's been playing well. It's ever since that half against the Jets where he wasn't allowed to throw any ball in the air. I mean, they're letting him throw the football, and he's passing at 63% completion percentage. He has 7 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions, so he's not turning the ball over, so that's good. That's how you stay on the field, rookie. And he's run for another touchdown. But the recipe here is just, again, run the ball, feed Saquon Barkley, who's averaging over 4 yards a carry. Look for him in the short passing game, right? Because he's explosive there. He's like Breece Hall. I mean, Saquon Barkley, those two guys, you give them the ball anywhere in the field, and they can hit a home run at any time. So you got to utilize that as a threat. And then the Packers, though, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what the Packers are doing. They've won 4 out of their last 5 games. Give LaFleur a lot of credit for what he's done with Jordan Love, because after a slow start, Jordan Love is progressing. He's looking better and better, playing with more confidence. Right now, he's passing at over 60%, and he has 22 touchdowns, almost 3,000 yards passing. Good thing about Jordan Love, too, is he spreads the ball around. He doesn't look at one side of the field. He's not stuck and placated on one receiver. He's spreading the ball. He's looking around. He's getting multiple people involved. And that's what you want to do. That's how you get more confidence, and that's how you get better as a young quarterback. But as far as this game, like I said, I just think the Packers right now are finding their groove. They're playing a lot better football. The Giants are the Giants. I mean, they're going to play respectable, especially in front of their home crowd. I think they'll keep this game close, but I think the Packers are going to win this game, and I'm going to pick the Packers to win. But I'm going to say the Giants keep it close. I think the Packers are going to win by a field goal, but the Giants cover. So if you're picking for the winner, I would take the Packers. If you're picking against the spread, I'd say the Giants are going to cover. And those are my Week 14 picks with spread. We'll see how we do. Like I said, a lot of tough ones that I went back and forth with, but I'm going to go with my gut, and see where it goes. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I love hearing everybody's feedback. And if you're new to watching my videos, please subscribe. Please subscribe and hit that notification bar so that you're alerted anytime I drop any new videos. I'm dropping new content all the time, so just make sure you're aware of that. But anyway, the most important piece right here is thank you all for watching. I enjoyed doing these videos for you guys. And as always, this is your boy Johnny signing out from the Hangout spot, and I will talk to everybody soon.